another quick links. Mostly everything we're going to do is going to be here except for a few exceptions. There are some other options at the top and a navigation pane to the side, but again, it's just an alternative way to get to the same thing that's under your quick links section. Okay. If you look at the bottom right-hand corner, you will see a messages box. This will be used to communicate between the CML and all the locations. So for example, if we ran out of a certain finishing supply, we may tell you on here that we're out of it and we're substituting another variety to send to your store. Maybe we're asking you to put your orders in early for a particular holiday. Maybe instead of ordering munchkins in a certain denomination, we're changing that denomination. So this is where we're going to communicate anything to you similar to email, okay? So if there was a message here, you would simply click on it to read it like you would an email, and then you have the capability to delete it so that you don't have them pile up in this section. So you can easily recognize when something's new, okay? So it's important just to make sure you don't have any messages there. You will have your local weather in the middle, just as a reference, depending on if your store is impacted negatively by, you know, rain or cold or anything like that. It's going to be specific to your city. So let's get started. If you have the agenda printed out in front of you, we're going to go to number 5, which is blackout dates for holidays, remodels. And then you'll notice that the agenda has notes on it that says see page 4. So for example, we're on 5 here. It says see page 4. That's the corresponding page number that you're going to find the step-by-step information of how to perform that. So I'm going to go to page 4 and I see what I have to do to complete that task, okay? So right now we're going to learn how to submit a blackout date. So blackout date is used in the event that your store is closed for an entire day and you don't need a delivery. So for example, if your store closes on Christmas, if your store is undergoing a remodel, if you know some natural disaster happens or a water main breaks or something to that effect, and your store needs to close, the CML needs to know about it. And the reason that is because we deliver donuts to you every day. So if you forget to place an order, similar to DCP, we're going to send you a safety order, okay? And we're going to set those up in a little bit. We're going to send you an order regardless. So unless you tell us that you're going to be closed, we're going to show up to your store with donuts to give you. So if we have a remodel or we're closed for a holiday, we're simply going to go under the quick link section and we're going to vendor blackout date, okay? Then, and this is called the ribbon here, this box. We're going to click add. The vendor, of course, would be the purple square CML. That's where you're purchasing your donuts from. And the delivery would be AM. And you would click on your store listed. And then you can either select a single date. So for example, I can select tomorrow, which is the 9th. Or I can select a date range. So if you're closed for remodel, you may have a longer range here. And you can type in a reason, such as remodel, closed for Christmas, etc. Okay? And then to submit that, you're just going to hit add. That's it. It's very, very easy, okay? So just in the event that your store is going to be closed and you do not need an order. So I didn't submit that. We're just going to go back home and we're going to move on to setting up our templates and our catalog. So with the menu rationalization, we should all be making the same donuts. Like the donuts you're making today is going to be the same donuts we're supplying you with from the CML. But we need to make sure that each individual store's Paros is set up to include those items, okay? In addition, you're going to be producing your own bagels, muffins, and croissants. So those will not need to be ordered from the CML. You will need to order them from your own store. So we have a few different templates that we're going to go over here. Okay, so the first one is going to be the CML template. Okay, so to get to that, we're simply going to go to Manage Store Templates under the Quick Link section. See that there are 3 here. We're going to get to the other 2 shortly, but we're going to click on our vendor, Purple Square CML. We're going to click on CML AM. And you notice how anything in blue, if I hover over it, it'll let me click on it. Okay, so you want to make sure anything in blue that you're able to click on. So Purple Square CML, I'm going to click on CML AM. The left-hand side is what is hypothetically available from the CML. In the future, we would like to supply you with some of the bread carriers and muffins, but that's not going to happen from day one. We're just going to work on donuts. So you see the right-hand side is your product, what's on your template, okay? So you can see here that you have your LTOs, your strawberry croissant donut, your s'mores donut, all of our other, 18 varieties that we have to carry as part of the menu rationalization. Our fancies are coffee roll and apple fritters, and then we have our 5 types of munchkins. So on your right-hand side here, it should show you everything that you're going to be able to order from the CML. In the event that we would like to make a change to this, for example, I'm going to go ahead and add unfinished products, which you may already see on your template. You simply click them, you check them off from the available product side, and at the top, you're going to click Add Remove. It's going to simply take those unfinished products from the left-hand side, and it's going to move it onto our template on the right-hand side. You see now that they appear over here at the bottom. So you see right now we have 2 donut sections. At the top, we have donuts with our varieties, and at the bottom, we have donuts with a U. The U simply means unfinished. Okay, so we have all of our plain. Now, if there's something we want to remove, such as an old LTO, or I don't want these unfinished donuts here, I'm going to check them off, and then I'm going to click Add Remove, and they're going to end up back on the left-hand side. So when I go to place my orders, I'm not going to have to constantly zero them out. They're kind of going to be, in the background, but unseen. Okay. So when we're done making our adjustments, we're just going to hit Save. Okay, so we've predetermined what we want to see when we go to order from the CML. Okay, so I can either go back to the home screen and click on Manage Store Templates again, or I can simply go back to this Templates button right here to kind of go back to this screen. Okay, so momentarily we're going to look at In-Store 1 and In-Store 2, but before that we need to look at our catalog. Okay, so let's go to our home screen. Okay, so at the top, this is one of the things that, we're not going to be using as part of the quick link, but you're only going to need to use it when we're adding and removing LTO. So realistically, once per month. So we're going to go to the top where it says Administration, and we're going to go to Sales. And then in this dark gray ribbon box, we're going to click on Sales Catalog. Okay, and you can see here that our delivery method is basically In-Store 1. So these are the items that you're going to be making in your store. So it's really going to depend on how your franchisee wants to set it up. So for example, in our Dunkin' locations, we consider In-Store 1 our overnight bake. So anything made overnight or through the end of showtime, so around 10 a.m., right? In-Store 2 would be anything made for the remainder of the day, so basically 10 a.m. onwards, okay? So this is going to be up to your franchisee and how they want to use it, but this is our recommendation and how we use it. So right now we're trying to define what's going to be available for us to order on our In-Store and In-Store 2. So right now you can see we've narrowed down, we've filtered our results on this left-hand side by selecting Window/LTO. If I click All, it's going to show us the first category is finished donuts, and it's going to be listed alphabetically. It's going to show us any donut that you could ever dream up, followed by a bagel section and a muffin section. and a munchkin section. So if you want to immediately go to bagels, I would recommend that this category you change to bagels. So then it'll really consolidate the list and you can go right to what you want to add. So for example, if we were adding, I don't know, pretend September rolls around and we have a pumpkin bagel. I would check off my pumpkin bagel. I would click Add Product. And it's going to ask me to define a unit of measure. All you're going to do is hit Submit. You don't need to fill in any quantities here, okay? So you're just going to hit Submit. And then you're going to notice if we scroll down, because this right-hand side is our product, you're going to scroll down and you can see pumpkin bagel. Okay, so we added it to our catalog of in-store items. Okay, let's go ahead and remove some of the donuts that are listed on here that we're not going to be carrying anymore. Okay, so you guys can do this while I'm doing it for this store. So toggle over to your browser if you can do so, and go ahead and remove some of the varieties that you don't think or that you're not carrying now with the menu rationalization. So remember, this is how we got there. We went to administration, we went to sales, then in the dark gray banner at the top, we clicked on sales catalog. Okay, and then we made sure our filters here were on in-store one and everything, so all. The left-hand side is what the Paros catalog is. The right-hand side is your individual store catalog. So I'm just gonna cut back on the items that I know we're not carrying. And by the way, I know a lot of you know a particular donut as Manager Special or Cream Delight. It's Vanilla Headlight. I know corporate referred to it at the training. So we're gonna have to add that one over here because I see Cream Delight, but we don't wanna refer to it as Cream Delight. Okay, so go ahead and make your selections and then hit remove. All right, and I'm gonna go ahead and find that Vanilla Headlight. And remember, it's in alphabetical, so it should be relatively easy to find. And then I'm gonna click Add. So it's gonna move from that left-hand side to the right-hand side. I see that someone talks that they can't get into the website. Is anyone else having trouble? All right, I'm gonna test out logging into the store that's having trouble real quick.
Is this Laura?
This is Lauren, yes.
This is Ralph Selena. I'm having a hard time getting into your training here on a video, on a webcam.
Okay.
I'm trying to go into there, but every time I get there, I don't get very far. I don't hear nothing what's going on.
Okay, so you're basically, let me pause this 1 second.
Well, I'm starting to go to your CML Paros Training. It's asking me about my name, which I did.
Okay. Did you click on this link right here in the email?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and click on that, and it's going to ask you to download a GoToMeeting for free. So you're going to download that, and you're going to allow the pop-up to.
Okay, I'm already on the part that says dial in now, and it said okay. You hit okay, correct?
You're going to select that you're going to call in with your phone rather than listen to audio on the webinar.
Okay, I already did that. I'm talking to you right now. I'm on your screen. It's telling me to dial 872-240-341, which I'm talking to, and it says, are you pinned and hit okay? And all right, I got you now.
Okay, great. Everyone else on okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so I see the store's having a hard time getting in, and 353867.
Yep, that would be me.
That's you. Okay, so were you okay to get into Paros? It was just the webinar then you were having trouble with?
I'm in a webinar, but I'm trying to listen and follow what I see on the screen here, but it's not. Oh, there it goes. Never mind.
Yeah, this is my screen I'm sharing with you. Okay. So
Okay.
this is one of my stores I'm in. So I'm just going to go back to where we were with sales catalog, and we were basically manipulating what we want Paros catalog, what we want to put in the 4th Street store's catalog, okay? Or maybe the Bruce B. Downs catalog or the Big Bend catalog, okay? So this is customized based on the store. However, it should be similar for everyone because it's a mini rational. So I've added and removed some products to reflect the mini rationalization. And now I'm going to move on from in-store 1 to in-store 2 and make sure that they match. So there may be some adding and removing I need to do here. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that really quickly. And the only real time, like I said, that you're going to be coming in here is once a month when we're changing our LTOs. And the LTOs have been lasting a few months, so not even that often.
Hi, Lauren. Can I interrupt for a second?
Sure.
Okay, I'm sorry. I think Ralph confused a little bit. My manager from 353867, she can't get into the Paros website, is what she's having trouble with.
Gotcha. Okay, that's what I was thinking. Okay, so let me. I'm gonna move my screen real quick to see if I can look at your login here. So give me 1 second.
Okay, I have her logged in under the 347625 just so she could follow for the time being.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
And then I'll make sure that we fix that immediately after.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, so sorry guys, now we're gonna go to in-store 2. So we're going to manipulate that to reflect exactly the varieties we have. It's gonna automatically save. So your work is done in the catalog. Again, it's gonna be once a month, add and remove your LTO varieties, and that's it, okay? So I'm gonna go to the home screen. And the next step is making sure our in-store templates have what we need them to have. So basically, it's slightly confusing because the catalog and the template seem very similar, but you can have items in your catalog and not necessarily have them on your template. So the templates are exactly what you're going to see when you're on your ordering screen. So when you go to plug in, I want 48 Boston cream and 72 glazed, whatever's on your template is going to be exactly what shows up on your ordering screen, okay? So let's look at what in-store 1 says. And again, since the CML will only be supplying you with bagels, muffins, and croissants, your in-store 1 is primarily going to be used for just that, so bagels, muffins, and croissants. Perhaps you guys will maybe have a little bit of JBOD product left over. You may want to, let's say you have some yeast rings left over, so you don't order any strawberry frosted sprinkles. You make strawberry frosted sprinkles out of your JBOD. What you would do is you would order that in your store, not from the CML. So the CML template that we were in at the very beginning, that's exactly what we're supplying you with. And then the in-store 1, it looks like you have the ability to order any of these products from your store. So if you did want to go in and order strawberry frosted sprinkles and then your bagels, muffins, and croissants, this setup will allow you to do so because everything on the right-hand side is going to be on your template, AKA on your ordering screen, okay? So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go back because it looks good, and I'm going to look at my in-store 2. And again, it should be exactly the same, except for my pumpkin bagel. Okay, now I remove my pumpkin bagel here. And it looks like I need powdered munchkins as well. So we want to go back and make sure that's part of our in-store queue catalog. I'm just going to go to Sales, Sales Catalog. And I'm going to look for cake munchkins specifically, because I want those cake powdered. Okay, so I'm going to click it, hit Add. It's going to ask me a unit of measure. I don't need to input anything. I'm just going to hit Submit. And then if I go home and go to my store template, and then I'm going to go to my in-store queue, which is just the one I was in, and realize I didn't have any powdered munchkins. Now you can see that I have powdered munchkins in here, okay? So that means when I go to order, they'll be on my screen to order.
Hey, well, sorry to bother one more time.
No, that's fine.
Under our quick links, under the 347625, we don't have the managed template under our quick links.
Okay, all right. Yeah, there may be a few things that I'm going to have to take note of, and that we're going to have to go in. Because, you know, all of your stores were set up, and there may be a few kinks in it that we'll just have to go in and repair. So I'm going to write down that 53867, we need a login check and make sure that those credentials are right. And then under the quick links, we're going to make sure that it's available, your managed store template.
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so does anyone have questions so far? So this is a question section. So anything that we've covered so far and you guys are uncertain about or want me to cover again, please say so now before we move on. And don't be shy. You guys are going to be using this relatively soon, this website, so I want to make sure that you guys have a pretty good understanding of it. And remember, there are some tools that I sent your franchisees that I hope that they shared with you of, you know, step-by-step directions on how to do these things. So you can, you know, take your own notes on here. You can reference this at any point in time. So you don't have to jot everything down as we're on the phone.
Our RPC 352159, it does, I have it written down here. I can email it after, but it doesn't have the same thing under the quick link either, so.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be everyone. So I'll look into that.
Okay, great, awesome.
Thank you.
No problem.
Does anyone else have questions? Okay, so I just wanted to cover one more time. The purple square CML, that's anything you're gonna get from the CML that's donuts, croissant donuts, fancies, and munchkins. You're still going to have a bakery person or your opener in your location make bagels, muffins, and croissants. And if you wanted to utilize any JBOD products that you have on hand that you have maybe too much of, you can also order that using your in-store one. Okay? So no one has questions. What we're going to do is we're going to basically set up our safety orders. So I refer to them as safety orders because I know most of you are familiar with DCP and safety orders. So it's a little similar to that. We're going to go back home. So click on your little house on the upper right-hand corner and go home. And we're going to click under the quick link on Manage Store Orders. Okay, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to set up a safety order for every single day of the week. Okay, now this is going to become your homework. We aren't going to necessarily do this on the phone, but I want to make sure that you understand how to set it up. And then we need it to probably be set up, I think maybe Friday is a fair deadline. It shouldn't take you too long. You'll be able to use your current production information to set it up. But it needs to be done because in the event that you forget to place an order, so you have a call out, you forget to place your order by the deadline, then we're going to generate a safety order on your behalf. So whatever is set up on the safety order is what you're going to get. So that means you probably want to spend a little bit of time and do a good job at setting it up. Okay, so is everyone clear on what a standing order is? It's similar to a safety order at DCP. Okay, so let's go ahead then. So we're going to click on Manage Standing Orders, and we're going to click on the CML AM, okay? We're looking at setting up the safety for the CML. So we're going to click on that. And there are going to be 4 categories that you can get from the CML, like I mentioned, donuts, fancies, and then yeast and cake munchkins. So what you're going to do, anything in blue you can click on, remember. So I'm going to hit this plus sign, and it's going to drop down. It's going to unhide all of those donut varieties. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to set up for Sunday how many blueberry cake glaze we're going to use. And for our croissant donut, we're going to enter how much of that we're going to use. Now, before I go down the line here and just do a quick example for you to see, I wanted to touch on this. Okay, so this is going to help you know what quantities to order your products in. So for example, donuts, croissant donuts, apple fritters, and coffee rolls, you can order in 6s. Okay, so if you order 4, it's going to round you up to 6 automatically, and you're going to get 6. So please try to stick to, 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, and so on. Now you can print this out, keep it by your computer, so it's really easy for you to reference. Powdered munchkins and blueberry munchkins aren't as big of sellers, right, as glazed, chocolate glaze, and jelly. So you're going to be able to order those in a half tray or a full tray. So half a tray would be $75 and a full tray would be $150. Okay, 1 half tray, 2 trays, and so on. Okay, so you're going to order those in increments of 75. Glazed munchkins are our most popular. You're going to order those in increments of 120. So it's going to be a full tray of yeast munchkins, okay? So glazed, you can do 120, 240, 360, 480, and so on. Those will not be available in half trays. Same with chocolate glazed munchkins. They will not be available in half trays. You're going to be ordering a tray of 150, 300, 450, 600, and so on, okay? So increments of 150. Lastly, jelly munchkins, like the glazed munchkins, are yeast, but jelly munchkins don't sell as well as glazed, right? So you can order those in denominations of 60, so that's a half tray, or 120 is a full tray, and so on. Okay, so yeast munchkins, a full tray would be 120, and then our cake munchkins, which would include chocolate glazed or powdered and blueberries, a full tray of those would be 150. Okay, so we're going to keep this in mind when we're setting up our standing orders over here. All right, so you notice I'm not putting in 20 or 22, I'm putting in 24. So I'm simply going to go through and type in some numbers here. Okay, we're just going to do this quickly together so you guys can see. And you can always save it halfway through and come back to it. So don't be alarmed if you can't complete everything all at one time. You're going to be able to come back to it. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to hit save. And basically my Sunday, oops, if I go back to it and unhide my donut, see all my Sunday numbers is here. It's going to give you a total as well, a total donut count at the top. So if you want to translate that to how many dozens that is, 558 singles divided by 12, that's 46 dozens. So you know right off the bat, if you usually sell 50 dozen on Sundays, that you need to increase the safety order a little bit, okay? So you would basically go through and do this for every single day of the week, and the same would apply to your coffee rolls and fritters and your yeast and cake munchkins, okay? So basically every single cell on here should have a number in it. And if you neglect to place an order with the CML, they will take these exact numbers from this column and that will be your order for Sunday or for Wednesday, okay? That's why this is so critical that you set it up and spend some time doing so. Does anyone have questions on standing orders, AKA safety orders? So this is on page 4. Okay, updating standing orders. This is on page 4 of the task list. So you can follow along to get back there and set up your own template. And again, try to get these all completed by Friday. Okay, does anyone have questions? And please make sure you don't type in an extra 0 or something. We had some stores order 6,642 old-fashioned because they didn't hit, tab in between. So, try to be really careful and just, skim over your numbers to make sure that they're accurate. You didn't accidentally hit another digit. Okay, so please update these by Friday. Again, once in a great while, you may have to depend on this. The only time you really need to update that is if your sales change or you notice that, we're adding LTO. So when the s'mores donut and the chocolate drizzle strawberry croissant donut go away, we're going to want to remove these and add in the new donut. But when the new donut comes up, it's going to show 0. So we need to go in and fill in the numbers that you want. Because if not, then when you get a safety order, you're not going to get those LTO donuts. So once a month, you're just going to have to go in and update those. I'll try to remind everyone by communicating on the message board down here, okay? So I'll try to go in and say, hey, don't forget to update your templates and update your standing orders with the 2 new LTOs. I'll try to send a reminder out to everyone to help until you guys really get into the rhythm of it. Okay, everyone so far so good? Okay, so let's move on to the different types of orders we have. Okay, so I'm just going to scroll up here. Okay, so there are a few different types of orders, and it's going to depend again on how your franchisees want to utilize the other 2. So the CML orders are due on a daily basis, and they're due by 12 p.m. Okay, so if you try to submit it at 12:05, the system will not allow you to submit it. They have to be in by 12 p.m. However, the good news is you can place orders in advance. So today, if you wanted to place your order for the next 5 days, it would allow you to do so. If you're off tomorrow, today you can place tomorrow's order and you can place Thursday's order, okay? So you can always stay a few days ahead so you never run into the safety order issue, okay? So I always recommend to stay at least 2 days ahead. I know, you have staff that quit, staff that doesn't show up, your baker called out, you come into no donuts, your IC3 brewer stops working, things happen in your restaurant. So I recommend that you just keep up 2 days in advance, and then you really never have to worry about missing that deadline. So that's up to you, and that's up to your franchisees, but the deadline for the CML is 12 p.m. So today by 12 p.m. I would have had to place my order to get the donuts tonight, and then the donuts would be sold on your shelf tomorrow. Okay, so 12 p.m. is the deadline. We already touched on the denominations, so we're going to go straight to ordering. Okay, and I don't want you to submit any orders right now. Maybe just pay attention to my screen when ordering with the CML. So when you go to place an order with the CML, you're going to come under the quick link section and you're going to click on place vendor order. Okay, I'm going to select the appropriate date. So on any given day, that would probably be the following day. However, the cutoff time has passed. So I'm just going to go a little bit in advance, just in case the store has placed some orders. The vendor is the purple square CML. Basically, all of this information is going to default, okay? The only time that you would change this method is if you have a catering order. So pretend, you know, a local school wants to order 20 dozen assorted donuts. What you would do is you would place your normal order as a standing order, and then you would come in here and place your 20 dozen school catering order as a special, okay? So that's the only exception, but it's typically going to default to the exact criteria that you need to select. So you're going to hit load order, and then this is your ordering screen, okay? So we have donuts, then we have our fancies, we have our yeast and cake munchkins, and if you elect to order unfinished product, that would also be on this ordering screen, okay? So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to type in numbers to this column. So all these zeros I'm going to change to something else. And I just want to show you also, I'm going to hit cancel so you can see something. So these safety orders, aka standing orders that we're setting up, it's going to help you when you place your order. So I plugged in my denominations for donuts for Sundays. So basically, let me select Sunday so you can see. So see how all of these quantities are pre-filled in? That's because I set up those standing orders. So what the system does is it pulls that as a baseline into your order. So you can always manipulate it like this and type over it and tab between each one. But it will take that information that I set up for Sunday for donuts and it will pull it through onto here so you have somewhere to start. Okay? And once I set up my coffee rolls and apple fritters, it will do the same thing for that. We just didn't set that up on the prior screen quite yet. Okay, so I'm going to go in. I'm going to place my order with the CML. Okay, if you click View Summary up here, it's going to drop down this little box. It's really useful. It'll tell me how many total dozens I'm ordering, either eaches or dozens, so you can get a ballpark for where you're at. Same with fancies, cake munchkins, yeast munchkins. It's going to tell you the cost of your order. And then if you're happy with your order, you can hit Place Order. Okay. Now, right now it's saying the rounding rule is applied. Please review quantity, which is in red. Click Submit again. Okay, so my chocolate glazed munchkins, it rounded because I didn't order in full trays. And I did that on purpose so that you see that error message. It doesn't mean that you're not going to get your order. It's just warning you that it's rounding a number. So I can either go down to 150 or I can get 300. Okay. So I'm going to change it and I'm going to hit Place Order. And it's going to land on this screen every time you place an order. You notice that it says no orders are found. That's because I just placed an order for Sunday and it's only showing me orders 7 days in the past and 1 day in the future. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to extend this date range and hit go. And it's going to show me the order I just placed in here. Okay, for Sunday the 13th, there's the cost. If I click on my blue text, okay, it's going to give me my summary table that I showed you how to pull down when you were in the order. And it's going to give me a description of my entire order. Now, I've placed it. I can always go in and edit it up until 12 o'clock of the date it's the day it's due. Okay, so basically up until 8:12, I can go in and edit this order, and I would simply do so by hitting this blue edit button under the actions. Okay, if I want to start over, I can delete it. So let me show you how to get to this screen from being on the home screen, because you land there after you place every order, but how do you get to it just from scratch? Say I wanted to go in, edit an order I already placed. How do I get there? I'm going to click on Edit, View, Purchase Order. Again, it's showing 7 days in the past and 1 in the future, so I'm going to extend my date range and hit go. and there's my order. Okay, so I can edit, I can delete, I can look at it. I'm going to go ahead and delete it. Okay, so that's going to be the CML order. And you're going to use place vendor orders in order to get to that screen. So does anyone have questions on the CML order? Anyone? You may want to take yourself off mute if you have a question. Okay, so we're going to move on and we're going to talk about the other types of orders. So this one that we just went over comes from the CML. The other ones are going to come from your store, okay? So basically, we're going to click on Place In-Store Order because you're making the order in-store. Self-explanatory. We're going to click Place In-Store Order and pretend I'm still placing order for the 13th. I'm going to select In-Store 1. Again, we refer to In-Store 1 as our overnight bake. Okay. Template should be In-Store 1. It's standing. Okay, and here's all the items that I could potentially order from my own store. Now you see both on this screen and on the last screen, it has some ordering history. However, we don't have any data built up yet in order for this to help us. But eventually, after 4 weeks, you'll see data over here in this right-hand side of your screen. And take note that this isn't, you know, we're placing an order for Sunday, so it's Saturday, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday. This is last Sunday, the Sunday before that, the Sunday before that. So 4 weeks worth of Sundays is what it's going to display once we have enough information. Okay, so we're comparing apples to apples here. So right now, since your store is making bagels, muffins, and croissants, I'm going to go in, I'm going to, you know, order some bagels. I'm going to order some croissants. I'm not going to make any donuts because the CML is going to give them to me. Okay, and then I'm going to make some muffins. So I've ordered my bagels, muffins, croissants, and I'm going to hit submit. And again, I placed it for the future, so I'd have to extend that date range. I want you to see both orders at one time in there, so I'm just going to quickly place this again. Okay, so let's look at both orders together. Okay, so the first one is 4th Street purchasing from the CML. Okay, this is a summary of our order. And then this one is 4th Street purchasing from 4th Street. And this is just our muffins and croissants. Okay, so notice that I have 2 orders for the same exact day. That's because one's coming from the CML and one is being made at my own store. Okay, so obviously the CML is going to get this information through the website, but how does your baker or your opener know what to make for bagels, muffins, and croissants? So we're going to go to our home screen. And under the quick links, we're going to select Report, Batch, Print. Okay, you probably only have one option here. It says Daily Production. And I place these orders for the 13th. And I'm going to hit Load Report. So the first page to this document is going to be what's called a pole thaw report. Okay, this is really nice because it's going to tell your baker exactly what to take out of the freezer. So for example, instead of them adding up sesame bagels, everything bagels, plain bagels, they're simply going to find that they need 104 bagels, 12 multigrain, and 12 cinnamon raisins. This is how many of each muffin, and then how many of each croissant. Okay. The second page is basically going to be your production report. So it's going to have your store name, and it's going to have your date at the top. On the left-hand side, it's going to be a list of products by category. Okay, so here's all of your bagels, muffins, croissants, and donuts. The unit of measure that we're ordering in and what's showing up on this screen is always going to be eaches. Okay. The next column is your vendor order. So this is what the CML is sending you. This is what you ordered from the CML. So you notice it's only donuts, none of these items. And then you notice your in-store order for your baker has no donuts on it, but it does have muffins, bagels, and croissants. Okay. Now there's going to be room in these 3 columns and these cells to write any additional products you made throughout the day. So maybe you ordered 60 glazed donuts from the CML, but you ran out at 12 noon, and you're going to make 18 or 24 more. You can write that information in any one of these 3 cells. Okay. Then at the end of the night, you're going to write your waste down when you discard everything. Keep in mind that if you make additional donuts out of JBOD, they're good for 18 hours. So you need to come up with a system that works best for your store so that your closers don't throw out product that's not expired yet. Okay, so you would essentially then just find the printer symbol somewhere on this page, and you're going to print this for your baker, okay, and for waste purposes. Now you will also get a delivery ticket when the donut racks are delivered to you. You will receive a delivery ticket with everything that was on your order, so you can also verify that when it comes in or when you arrive. Okay. So again, that was under report batch print. Okay, and you'd want to print that out on a daily basis. So it's also important to record this information. Let me go back to it real quick. It's also important to record this information because Paros functions solely off of the information that you put into it, okay? So if you think about it, you're placing the order in Paros, right? We're going to go over how you enter waste in Paros. If you make an additional bake at 12 or 1 o'clock, that has to go in Paros. So the system is only going to function as well as the information you're putting in. So I'm sure everyone's heard garbage in, garbage out. So whatever occurs in your store with a bakery or donuts, it needs to go on this piece of paper. And then from this piece of paper, it needs to be recorded in the Paros website. Okay. In the future, Paros will start making ordering recommendations for you, but it's not going to do a good job of it if the information we're putting in is inaccurate. So, speak to your closers, make sure they're writing down accurate waste numbers and so on. Okay. We want to keep everything as accurate and be a good reflection of what's going on in your restaurant. Okay. So please make sure that you're recording anything that you're making throughout the day, and then you're getting accurate waste at the end of the night. Okay, now let's go over how to place that supplemental bake. And again, I know I've said it a couple times before, but it's up to your franchisees how you're going to use this. Okay, so if we're making something after showtime, which is 10 o'clock weekdays, 12 o'clock weekends, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to place in-store order, and you're going to just select in-store 2. Okay, 1 is overnight, 2 is after showtime. Okay, we're going to hit load order. So basically, this is going to be something we're going to do after the fact. So what our managers do in our network is they look at the donut case after showtime, and they say, what does my store need to get me through the end of the day? So that may be 3 dozen glazed. It may be, 18 Boston cream. So what they would do is they would make those donuts. They would record them on the batch print sheet that we just saw. They'd write it down. And then after the fact, they would come in and they would just tell Paros what they made. Okay, so they would come in and they would say, okay, I made, 30 glazed donuts, I made 18 Boston cream donuts, and so on. And then we would hit submit. Maybe that's all we had to make. We hit submit. And then when I select this date range, you see I have a CML order, I have a bagel muffin croissant order, and then I have a supplemental donut order, whatever I made throughout the remainder of the day. Okay, so see same date, but different delivery methods, basically different types of orders. Okay. So does anyone have questions before we move on then? Any questions about types of orders? Okay, so now we're going to go to the home screen. Okay. And we're going to enter waste from the prior day. Okay, so there are a few different ways you can do it. You can select enter waste. There will be a waste function over here under pending tasks. You see that I don't have any waste to enter because this store is actually marked to open in a few weeks. It's not open quite yet, but we can look at another store. Okay, so you see we have a waste function over here, and we have a few waste entries that need to be added in. Okay, so you would simply click enter waste under the action, and it tells you specifically what you've ordered. You would go in and just tell it what you threw away at the end of the night. Okay, just like this. You would put those quantities in all the way down, click save. Okay, so for every single order that you place, there's a corresponding waste entry. If there was no waste, you can leave it zeros and hit save, and it would say, are you sure that you want to enter a zero quantity? And you would say yes. Okay, that's true when it comes to the in-store 2 orders, so supplemental donut orders that you may be making in the afternoon or after showtime, because if the shelf life of those donuts is 18 hours, you may have the ability to sell those during showtime the next day, depending on when you make them. So you may have zero waste for your in-store 2 order, okay? All right, so I think there's only one thing that we haven't gotten to yet, and then I'll open it up for any questions on anything that we've covered. I'll also show you what the delivery racks are going to look like and a few tips on those. So the final thing that we're going to cover is entering credit requests. So say that you ordered, 60 French curlers and you got 48. What we're going to do is enter a credit request. And again, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to go to another store that has orders that are already in there. Okay, so I'm going to click enter credit request. And here's a summary of my last 7 days and 1 day in the future. And after the order has been made, you can select enter credit request. So see here, our order that we received this morning. I can enter that credit. So I'm going to click on request credit. And I can put in the notes box here. Shorted 6 French curlers. Okay, so the quantity that was sent to me or was supposed to be sent based on what I ordered right here. So I'm going to find French curler, and I'm going to change my received quantity from 24 to 18 because we established that I'm 6 short. So my 24 minus 6 is 18, and I'm just going to hit request credit, and that is it. That's all you have to do. Please do not zero out these other varieties because that would mean that you didn't receive any of them. You're only going to change the one that you were shorted on or didn't receive at all, okay? And then you would hit request. That request will go to the CML and we'll go through each request individually and approve them, okay? We also want to make sure if you're not getting French curlers multiple days, we want to make sure we fix the problem for you, okay? So that's why we're going to be going through it on a daily basis, one by one, okay? So right now I'm going to open it up for questions. So please unmute yourselves if you have questions on anything at all we've covered. I know it's a lot of new information. I don't believe any of you have used Paros before. So everything's new. I know we covered a lot, so please don't be shy and make sure you ask questions.